Let's get into it. It's crime o'clock, yeah, feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick-tock, won't stop, let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah, it's crime o'clock. Clock, clock, yeah. Typically new, neon signs glow, brick wall behind me. Headlines loud, but they never define me. They rush the story, skip the proof. I slow it down, let it show the truth. Files on deck, read every line. Timestamps matter, so does time. If it don't fit, I don't force the frame. Ask one question, whole story change. No fear my voice, no need to shout. Paper speaks when you read it out. If the math's off, I'll circle twice. Truth ain't loud, but it ain't nice. Yeah. Read it again. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Pull up real close, yeah. It's crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Read it again. They sell a narrative if I sell receipts. Courtroom quiet, but the pages speak. Word for word, no added spin. Let it stand, yeah, let that sink in. Screenshot save, timelines tight. Missing pieces keep me up at night. If they say alleged, I say why. If they say case closed, I say try. No rush here, we do it right. Truth don't bend for the likes of hype. If you came for noise, you're in the wrong spot. This is evidence, this is crime o'clock. Clock, clock, clock. Stay with me. This isn't background noise. This is pattern recognition. This is documents. This is crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock, yeah. Feel that sound. Typically unique when the truth comes out. Tick tock, won't stop. Let the facts talk. Say it with me now. Crime o'clock. It's crime o'clock. Typically unique. It's crime o'clock. Yeah. If you're here, you're early. If you're listening, you're paying attention. Show starts now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Crime O'Clock on Typically Unique. I'm turning down the volume on my phone over here. How's everybody doing? It's Taco Tuesday. I am making taco pie tonight. Anybody ever heard of taco pie? It's not like I've never seen the recipe on the internet. It is my mother-in-law's little special recipe that she used to make, and my husband loves it, and it's something we don't make all the time, so when we get it, it's a treat. So we're doing that tonight. Excited. Hey, come on in, everybody. Hit that like button on your way in, please. Hello, Mouse. Hi, Blue Devil. Taco salad. Love that. Yep. Hi, Ro. Song of the Siren, Jenna. Hello. KK. Oh, KKaz girl. I want to say my sister kind of uses a handle like that, except it's like crazy girl. That's what I thought I was looking at. Hello. Good to see you. Hi, Amanda. Blue-eyed butterfly. I'm so glad you were able to join today too. Awesome. Hi, Becca. All right. And we have a special day today, you guys. It's someone's birthday and she's not even going to be here, but we're going to celebrate it anyways. Today is Jen 7S, one of our moderators. It's her birthday. So she's out celebrating. So I'm going to play something for her anyways. Make sure she gets it in the Discord. She can see it when she maybe winds down for the day, or she'll see it tomorrow. Hi, Skilla591. Hello. A gift. It's Taco Tuesday. No planning required. No planning required. Just make tacos tonight. Pretty much Finland. Hello. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. Before we celebrate Jen, I wanted to do a couple FOIA updates. I'll tell you what's been going on. So I got a phone call Friday, freaked out because it was like after 6 p.m. my time, but Moscow's like 3 hours behind us. So it showed up on my phone, Moscow PD. I was like, oh my God, it's an MPD. I was like, what is going on? But the clerk called me, and I had put in that FOIA request for Kaylee McConkey's interview. And I had also started with Moscow asking for Brent Turvey's expert report, but then I found out that's not the place to do it. So I had called them, and it had been weeks. So she was just like, hi, I'm returning your call. And I was like, oh my God, what did I call about? What did I even say? Like, I couldn't even remember. So I explained both. But what I was really focused on was the McConkey interview. They had no record. She said, I can't find you in the system. Well, then it caught me so off guard. I wasn't in front of my computer. I wasn't like, I didn't have anything in front of me. So I went this weekend, and I had receipts for MPD because they have electronic response that sends you a case number, So I emailed that back to her and said, hey, I got responded to. Here was the number. Here's what they said. So still waiting for a reply from MPD for that. And then I never heard back from the Ada County Clerk of Courts. I went to the Clerk of Courts website. They have a form there. I filled it out. So they said, we'll respond within 3 days. Well, then I just, I let it go. I kind of, got dejected and was like, I'll just fund other people's FOIAs, instead of trying to do it myself, whatever. But now lately I'm like, no, I feel like I have something under my eyeball. I'm like, I am going to plow ahead. Let me grab a tissue. So I called them yesterday, and she said they also had no record of anything from me. And I'm like, what the heck? I did not call. I'm sorry. They emailed me. And how did it go? I must have called, left a message, and then they emailed me back. It was something like that. So I ended up responding. She wanted a case number. Do you have a case number? Like a record of my, and I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you guys never responded to even give me one. So how could I have that? Like, I don't have that. So I emailed them, and twice, because I really don't feel like I should have to FOIA Dr. Turvey's expert report, especially since there was a court order to unseal everything in December. I know Ms. Potts said she called. So I was like, well, let me double down on that. And that's when I called yesterday. So my latest out to them is just, no, I don't have a case number because you never responded to me. And then I gave her my email, my look under these names, all that information. So I'll wait again. This time I'm only waiting a couple days, and then I will be calling and calling and calling. Like, this is ridiculous. But I asked, I said, hey, these were supposed to be unsealed. When are they going to be unsealed? So at least I'm sure there's probably more people that have been reaching out. And I think the more that we reach out to them, maybe it'll, spur them to get some things released. Hi, Gigi Butler. Hello. Hey, Christina. How you guys doing? All right, let's celebrate Jen. And she can see this later. do I want to do this? Oh, I know. I know what I need to do. I downloaded the video. However, I'm going to play it from the editor that I made it in. I think this might be faster because I can just share a tab. Give me a second to get it to open. I have 500 million tabs open because we are going to read the preview pages from Cyray's book today. And I remember when the preview first came out, there were 20 pages of preview, I believe, but now there's 40. Now there's 40. And at first I put a post and said, hey, there's new pages. And then I thought, am I right about that? Are there really new pages? But when I looked and it said 40, I'm like, I don't remember 40 pages. So I want to dive into them anyways. So that's what we're going to do today. And I have lots of thoughts on them. I also put a post. So there is a poll. There's a poll asking, is your mind made up already? Are you writing off Cyray? It doesn't say all that. It just says, are you writing off Cyray? Yes or no? Like, are you done with him? And I take a moment to answer that poll, and then I'll probably wait for more people to get in here. I'll let it run for a while, and then we'll look and see what everybody has to say. All right, this is for Jen.
Yeah, coming. All
right, we can't be doing that. Come on, just play.
Yeah, coming. All
right, that's horrible. Let me see if this will work. Oh my goodness. Why can't this be easy? Look at it. It's just spinning. So let me try something. How do I play from my media player? I've done it before. I know it can happen. I've done it before. Oh, here we go. Video file. See, I knew it could be done. I knew it could be done. If it would just show me. Does it have a recent home? I'm telling you, Microsoft has to screw everything up. I'm sorry, you guys. Give me a second. There it is. So dumb. Like, just put things where I want it. Oh, my goodness. You got to have 55 clicks to open anything. And I already downloaded it, and now it's downloading it. Yes, everybody put a happy birthday, Jen, in the chat. Take a moment and hit that thumbs up if you haven't. We're getting Jen's birthday video open. Any day now. Jesse Lynn, hello. Cy said blatant corruption on the stand. Now in his book, he is saying how wonderful LE did. Like, what? Yeah, we're gonna talk about that, Jessie Lynn, and that's why we're gonna look only at the preview pages because that's all I have access to right now. And I did not buy the book. I just decided not to, and my initial thought was, oh, it's gonna be more like a textbook, teaching manual. I don't really want to. Yeah, it would be a good resource, but I really don't want to read that. And it looked like there was only going to be one chapter about Brian.
Coming.
Oh my gosh. It just played on its own. It looked like it was going to have one chapter at the end about Brian. But now, and we'll talk about this more as I go through the preview, I'm like, oh, this looks more interesting than I thought. Like, I think it's going to read lighter than a traditional textbook manual based on what I'm seeing now. Because maybe that's why they released 20 extra pages. So I really would like to dive into it, but man, that's really expensive, like $95 for a book. But I might ask my library to get it. Use your public libraries, you guys. They're very valuable. All right, here we go. Happy birthday, Jen.
Yeah, yeah. Turn it up, let it ride. Yeah. Turn it up, let it ride real smooth. Got a birthday shout for the one that keeps the groove. Jen in the chat, yeah, she hold it down tight, keeping all the chaos in line every night. From day one, she been solid, no switch, no fade. Loyal in the trenches while the live stream play. Drop a little love, let the candles ignite. Cause Jen's getting shine on a special night. Hey Jen, it's your day, let the whole room cheer. Another trip round the sun and we're glad you're here. You the heartbeat in the background, calming the storm. When the chat gets wild, you keep it all warm. Community love, yeah, it runs so deep. Appreciation stacking higher than we can keep. Every message, every moment, every modded call. You one of the reasons we don't fall. So make a wish, let it fly, let it land. You got a whole little family clapping hands. Jen, we see you and we all agree. Best birthday ever, that's how it's gotta be. Happy birthday, Jen, let it shine, let it glow. From the whole damn crew that you already know. Much love, much respect, yeah, it's easy to see. You're appreciating love and love sleep.
Trying to see where I can get the poll results. Oh, here they are. Let me see. I don't want to end it. I want to see it. So far, we have, it's close, but 53% are not writing off Cyray yet. 47% are like, yep, done with him. Done with him. Uh-oh. I'm not here to change anybody's mind today. And happy birthday, Jen. Happy birthday. We hope you have a wonderful day. We love you. Yeah, not here today to tell anybody how to think about anything. I see both sides. I really see both sides. But I do have an opinion. I have a thought formed so far. I feel like I cannot and will not have a complete opinion until I either read the whole book for myself or hear somebody go over the book, like review the book. So that's where I officially stand. But I also believe in a lot of cases, two things can be true. So I do believe that, and I am a little miffed, probably more than that. Like I was on one, what night was it? Saturday night? No, Sunday night on Lana's channel. When she was talking about it, I had that moment. I vented out some negative feelings. I do that. Italian over here, and still hold a little bit of that, anger that here we go, another expert that's just not being completely vocal, outspoken, take a stand, state what you know, put people on blast. Okay. It's just more, I was saying yesterday, tippy-toeing around, dropping little, maybe a hint, vagueness. I want to say this, but I gotta do it very subtly, a lot of subtleness, I think. So that's frustrating to me. And some people are on the anger side of that, so I understand it. I also feel that those subtle statements and information can still be valuable. Okay. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I can self-reflect, and especially in the field I was in education, I was in many positions, trying to make change in a system that was resistant or had people that were resistant to it. Different levels of competency that you deal with, different levels of, how would you word it? I think when it comes to law enforcement, we're talking about, like ethics and things like that. You just deal with people all over, and that's always going to be the case. One of my points today, and I know with the book, if the book is going to talk about systems and processes and procedures, you can't control 100% the human element, the human element, right? We can't control other people. And I don't know if you've ever heard the phrase, but I lived by the phrase circle of control. You have a circle of control in anything that's yours, right? And you can't change people or things that are like outside of that. There's things you can do, but my point is, we're always going to have the human behavioral element. We're always going to have people who suck. I'm just going to say it. They either suck or they're bad people, like that want to cheat and lie and steal. There's people like that out there. Can you do things to try to eliminate them? Yes. Should there be things out there trying to eliminate them? Yes. Those things would be processes and procedures, like policies, like that's what that is. Standards, criteria. That's what all those things are. I also believe, so I'm showing both sides. I get it. There's both sides. I also believe there's a tipping point. In any organization, in any group. There's a tipping point. And if you have the majority of people that are not corrupt, not lazy, don't suck, want to be good at their job, high achieving, reliable, if you have a majority of that, then you can control the system better. My opinion, my experience. If you have a tipping point that is the opposite, lazy, unethical, corrupt, not good at their job, just collecting a paycheck. If that's the majority, could it still be changed with a major overhaul? But it would be harder. So I think a tipping point comes into play with that too. So I'm just pointing out, like, I'm going to say some things that are my opinion, but I also get like the other side of it, that human element. Okay. But you can't do anything to change a person. You can't change a person, but you could get rid of them. And I know that's a lot of people, like when we look at some of the players in the Idaho 4 investigation, like, why was that person put in that powerful position? Why was that person put in a leadership position? Why was this person chosen to go represent this piece of work when they actually didn't do the work? Like, there were a lot of choices like that. I get it. Wellington, Oda, hello. Stick to your truth. I don't know if there was a change. Mouse. I don't know if there's a change in what he saw and what his findings are. I think there's a change in the way he's presenting it. I think there's a change in the way that he's presenting it. But again, I'll show you what I'm thinking. All right. So everybody's railing on the human behavior aspect. I understand that. Okay. Talked about your circle of control. So I'll just give you like my example. So why, like, I've learned a lot about procedures and system change. I went through training for it. Let me know in the chat if any of you are familiar with a company called Baldridge. They started in the business world, and they were basically a systems. They created a process, a bunch of processes to go through with an organization to check your system. It's a systems check so that you're not failing at places because you're not checking in on it. You're not, what's the word I'm looking for? Monitoring. I collect quotes. I love quotes. One of my favorite quotes is, what gets monitored gets improved. If you don't monitor something, you're never going to improve it. If you want to lose weight and you're not tracking your weight, you're probably not going to control your weight. If you want more views on YouTube and you're not tracking your views on YouTube, you're not able to control that and do it. So you got to monitor it. You have to monitor it. So I went through this training, and, you know, you have to have different levels of it. Like, I had to use that training and that system for myself. I had to monitor myself. That's the human aspect. Kathleen Bell is a new member. Welcome, new peep. Put some peeps in the chat. Hi, Stoner Podcast Media. So when you think about the PD, Moscow Police Department, okay, so if you want better police officers, train them in how to go through these steps to make sure they're doing all the best practices, all the best things that they should be doing. And if they don't, because there should be someone monitoring that. You have to monitor, okay? You have to monitor. So I did that for myself in my own classroom, and it was like the best thing ever. It made everything better. It made me a better teacher. My results went up. My test scores went up. Our classroom was happier. I had better classroom management. And you can apply that to anything, like police officers, investigators, detectives. If they did that, they could become better at their job. Then you've got, like, in my instance, it was like a building level. So you've got 30, 40 teachers in your building. If every single one of them, and now you're going to have people who don't do it at all. And that's the human element. You're going to have people who don't do it at all. I am not doing that checklist. Or they'll just go, check, 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 check. I did that. That's the human element. That's what we're talking about. So what do you do when you have a person like that in your organization, whether it's a police department or a school? What do? Well, you need a leader. Again, a human. You need a human who is like the principal or the chief of the police, who's going to take that person into their office and say, show me, you checked this off. Show me where you're doing that. You checked this off. I need to see how you're doing that. And then people are going to say, what if you don't have a chief like that? What if you don't have a building? Trust me, I worked in a building where we didn't have a principal like that. I couldn't control that. I could only control myself. So that's the dilemma. That's the dilemma. So saying all of that, I understand you have sucky humans in positions of power that allow things to be corrupt or fail. I get that. I just don't think you shouldn't do it anyways. I don't think that's a reason to say don't do it. I think you should do it. I think you should do it because you want to get better. You want to have a system to try to get the right people in place, and you have to keep fighting to get those right people. I don't know. That's my thoughts. All right. I see you guys dropping some memberships in here. So Wellington, welcome new members. Love you all. Thank you for that. We love you back. We love you back. And let's see who got those 5 memberships. 5 new peeps in our coop, in our peep coop. Let me look. We have, thank you, Wellington Oda. Very generous of you. Let me see. We've got, where'd it go? It has to show. Why is it not showing me? I'm so mad. Okay, show me where it's at. Show me where it's at. Oh, I'm in top chat. Let me go to live chat. Then it'll show me. Here we go. Sorry about that, you guys. All right, here we go. Kathleen Bell, Stoner Podcast Media, Jen A, 22, Jeremy Pearson, and Miss Momikins. Welcome to the peeps. Welcome to the peeps. Oh, wait, maybe Stoner and Kathleen, you guys were already. Sorry, it's they are not right under each other. Redacted stock. And let's see, was that 5? Received a membership. Yep. Oh, I struggled with that. That was not smooth. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Revealing truth now. You found this case recently and it's really got me puzzled. Oh, welcome to the craziness. I've been following this case, I would say probably since November of 2022. Not like, I don't know if it was the first week. Probably it was pretty close to right away. Pretty close to right away. Yes. Very kind, very kind. And we've got 1 towards our goal today. Thank you. Smooth operator. There is Scully. Oh, I've missed you. What? Flashbacks. Skull. Is this a dream that you had? I think I came in on the back end of a comment, second part of a comment. I hope you're okay, my friend. I hope you're okay. Aw, Scully. Take care of you. You take care of you. We're here for you. You know you can always reach out. You can always reach out. I so endorse therapy. It's so great for you. So great for you. You're fine, Scully. You're fine. You're fine. Never get mad at anybody on here. It would take a lot. It would take a lot. Okay, so that was my example of like putting a system in place to help makes people better. It has the capability to make people better. Although we do know we cannot control people. Okay. But in a system, the reason we have systems is because you can put things in place to at least identify the weak areas, identify the trouble spots, set criteria for people so that it makes it harder for people to ignore crappy workers, employees, force people to do things like that. That can be done. So, and think about this. What if we changed the system that Ann Taylor was working in, where the judge would not have been able to rule on his own Frank's hearing? So what if defense attorneys, if they wanted to have a Frank's hearing, what if they were able to go to a different judge to request that? Like, that's something, like, think about that. Do you think Ann Taylor might have had a better chance of getting that request? And any other request she might have put in front of the judge that she lost, because she lost just about everything. And also with appeals cases, it blows my mind that if I'm going to appeal my case, it's basically a case that a judge was in charge of. So I think they take it personally. If a ruling gets appealed, they're going to take it personally. But so then they get to make the decision if you get granted an appeal or not. Like, what? Change that. So does that guarantee you're going to get a better judge to make that ruling? No, there's always going to be that human element. Like, I get it. But still. Yeah, he never let her work properly. Yeah. Les Awake, welcome. Thank you for jumping in the chat and joining us. Everybody say hi to Les. Yeah, welcome. Join the chat with us. That's awesome. I'm happy you're here. I'm going to check in on you later, Scully. I'm going to check in on you. All right, let's look at what we've got here in this preview. We're going to start with page 7. So I already went over like the first 20 pages. However, this is page 7. So this is in the beginning of the preview. Pages that have been out there for a while. You've probably seen this, but I wanted to start with what Syrai, let me make sure you can see this. Probably not. I have to add it to, oh no, yep, you got it. Good. Make it nice and big here. Okay. So Sy wrote the book Truth Line. Okay, that's the title of the book. And just thinking of that, the truth line. Like, how do you interpret that? Is it a line that it's a line that can't be crossed, right? If you cross it, you're not having truth anymore. Truth line. I think that's a pretty powerful title. Like, he didn't call the book like 3 steps to having a better organization. It's not generic. It's not a generic title. It's a title with a meaning. I think it's a title with a meaning. I'm not going to be a big Syrai defender today. I'm going to be a Syrai analyzer, just analyzing things. How can I see this? Okay. The truth line. So he's addressing that. I want to address that. What if he's thinking, I want to address this? I want to make sure that in police departments across the country, law enforcement agencies were like towing that line. Just my thoughts. I'm just thinking out loud. So his process is called behavioral fusion. Oh, I don't want a line. I don't want a line. I want this. There we go. Behavioral fusion. And he's got 3 functions. Okay. So there's 3. There's 3 things for behavior. So the first one is that it treats behavior as the focus. Okay. So focusing on human behavior. Even though, like I said, it's hard. You can't control people. You can't get inside people's minds. You can take action against people that are horrible. You can do that. It doesn't get done a lot. I mean, you guys, it's so bad, and I don't understand why. In the world of education, if somebody's bad at their job, like we literally have a saying that's called the turkey trot. The turkey trot. Like they would rather move a poor teacher and poor, like, you know, not a good teacher. They just move them around. They move them around. We're going to move them to a different school. People are complaining about them. Oh my God, we're getting so many complaints about this teacher. Okay, let's put her in a different, let's put them in a different school. It's the turkey trot. It happens everywhere. It is. That's what it's called. There's a couple other sayings for it. I forget what it's called. The turkey trot, I can't remember the other ones. So that exists. That is real. I am not saying that is not an issue. It is an issue. So Cy is saying we're gonna try to address that. Then second, he's talking about conclusions. So we have to control the conclusions that we come up with. How are we coming up with them? Are we making conclusions before we should? Are we making conclusions with no evidence? Are we not verifying our conclusions? Okay. And back at behavior with human behavior, oh, maybe he's not looking at it the way I am. Let me go back. See, this is why I wanted to do this. Let's go back and look at behavior. It says first, help me out with this, you guys. Help me out with this. First, it treats behavior as the focus rather than individual pieces of evidence. Okay, so we're not looking at evidence, we're looking at behavior. Records are viewed as fragments of what a person did, not as final answers. And no single artifact is permitted to explain behavior on its own. What behavior is he talking about? It treats behavior as the focus rather than individual pieces of evidence. Records are viewed as fragments of what a person did, not as final answers. Okay. So like police records. So I'm an officer and I have to do police records. Those records are viewed as fragments of what a person did, not as final answers. No single artifact is permitted to explain behavior on its own. That's really hard to understand. That's really hard to understand. I'm not sure what he means about that one, but we will keep, we'll see when it comes up again. Second, it controls conclusions. So the conclusions I understand, right? You can't come up with conclusions without things to back it up. And you shouldn't come up with them too fast. And then third, we have where is there it is. Oh, the going off track part. And basically, he's talking about having a structure in place. So, controlling behavior, controlling conclusions, and keeping structure in place. I mean, I already explained, I endorse those things. So I just wanted to go back to those. Those are the three things he's talking about. All right, let's look at this. So I don't know if this is the very first place he talks about the Kohberger investigation, but it looks like it. So now this is page, do I have a page number? What did I call this? Page 8. This is page 8 of the preview. So you can see it's in chapter 1, 1.4, the Kohberger investigation. And I don't know if he had this in his earlier in the earlier preview. This is one of the parts I think is new. Eyed Redman, hello. Lavs is here. Lavs. See, Scully, you're getting so much love and support. We love you. We love you. Always reach out. Always reach out. Hi, Mama's boy. Yep, verification is key, Mouse. Okay, Kohberger. The murders associated with the Kohberger case. Oh my God. Why do I keep doing that? There we go. Represent an immense human tragedy. That's a pretty powerful statement. Oh, he's just talking about the murders themselves. Got it. 4 young people were killed. Families were destroyed. A community was fractured in ways that do not repair on a timeline anyone chooses. That weight belongs in the room with everything that follows. This case is not included because it is recognizable, sensational, or widely discussed. It is included because it contains every failure this discipline exists to prevent. So listen to what he's saying there, you guys. He's picking the Kohberger case because it contains every failure. It contains every structural gap. It contains every place where interpretation moved faster than validation. It contains every moment where a timeline carried weight it had not earned. It is not an example. It is the example. I mean, I don't know if that's not calling out cops. I don't know what is. So if I worked on the Kohberger case and I read that, I would be, oh my God. I'd be like, he's talking about me. It contains every failure this discipline exists to prevent. You interpreted things and didn't validate them. You created a timeline that had no weight. Wendy is asking if anybody knows the date. Oh, it's July 16th. Thank you, Ro. Thank you, Ro. What the case reveals is what happens when contradictions are buried under confidence instead of resolved through discipline. Do not mistake this for a failure of character. The people inside this system, here we go. Here we go. The people inside the system are not the problem. No. No, 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 no. Oh, do you know how many quotes there are? Do you know how many quotes there are about this? Like, you're only as good as your worst player. You're only as good as your worst player. You ever heard that one? That's a saying for a reason. It's people. It's people. People do the work. People make the decisions. People do the interviews. People collect the evidence. People write the reports. People choose to write the reports the very day they did the work, or they choose to write the reports a year later. Okay. People choose to fill out an evidence bag label correctly or not. People choose to silence a video for a FOIA request or not. People choose to take an invisible piece of DNA on a sheath and run it through IgG instead of taking visible blood on a sheath and taking it through the DNA IgG process. Now I know why Lana blew a gasket. You guys, I've only made it to the second paragraph I wanted to share with you. Oh my God. That's crazy. We've got more members. Look at that. Labs, 5 new peeps, 5 new peeps. Let me see who got those. Welcome in, you guys. Hopefully some of you new members, new chatters. I'd Redman, am I saying your name correctly? I hope so. Welcome, unique peep. I'd Redman, Matt Voles. Redacted doing redacted. What the L? Hello. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. And Scully. Look at that, Scully. Lucky day. See, you show up, you're a mod, and you got a membership. You got a membership. Thank you for that, Lavs. Very appreciated. Appreciate you. Someone is saying July 16th. I've heard July 15th. I've heard July 16th. I've heard not this next Tuesday, but in 2 more weeks on a Tuesday. Jessie Lynn saying July 16th. All right, I'm going to get back to this. Oh my God. Oh, and I need to thank you guys.
I appreciate you. Thank 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 you for the support. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. There's a comment here I want to look at. Hi, Texas Gigi. I agree with everything, but I can't wrap my brain around BK's silence. If he truly has zero part in this, it's breaking my brain. I know. I think the same thing. I would recommend looking at other cases where where the same thing happened to others. And so one case that I covered a while back was on Christopher Ochoa. Okay. You can find lots of videos about his story. I looked at it. I shared his story. So he took a plea deal. And the reason Christopher Ochoa is a good example to look at is because I think he was so like just burnt out, like they wore him out, that he just, I don't even think he thought like I can fight this. He got so beat down, I guess, is like my understanding. And it was years that the Innocence Project ended up getting with him, helping him. But it took him a long time to realize like I can do something for myself. And the thing that's good about Christopher Ochoa is he has videos where he talks and explains his thought process. He explains like what he went through and why he decided to take a plea deal, even though he knew he didn't do it. And then why he was quiet and why it took so long for him to fight for his innocence. All of that. So yeah, I recommend Christopher Ochoa because it really doesn't make sense. It's frustrating. It's frustrating, but it does happen. All right. So number one, the people inside the system are not the problem. No. It was built for a different era, before digital evidence arrived in waves, before behavior was recorded at scale, before technology began outpacing every structure meant to govern it. That transformation, I cannot talk today, has a name: the digital shift. It's already underway. It is already in control. Chapter 2 examines it fully. This case is what the shift looks like when nothing holds it back. Look, in the history of man, there's been transformations. In the history of mankind, in ancient civilizations, when they invented fire, there was a transformation. When there was the wheel invented, there was a transformation. When they figured out how to make a currency to trade, there was transformation. We've been doing it forever. Humans have been transforming when there's new technology since humans have been on this earth, right? Since humans have been on this earth. Just because it's digital now doesn't make humans of today any special. Doesn't make you special. We maybe have to stop using things, think about indoor plumbing. Okay. You stop however you were doing it, and now you have a new way to do it. Right. And everybody, builds that system, and you have to stop doing things the old way. And the people have to change. The people have to change. Both change. The system changes and the people change. So then he says the question of guilt or innocence belongs in a courtroom. So he makes it clear he's not going to talk about the guilt or innocence of Brian Kohberger. Okay. I need to move my little book here because it's getting in my way. But a courtroom cannot answer that question reliably if the process feeding it is broken. Okay, now remember, I'm all for processes. So I like this. You have to have, if the courtroom's going to work, the input, all the data and evidence and everything needs to be, needs to work. It needs to work. So I like this. The process feeding the courtroom has to work. Before conclusions are reached, behavior must be understood. Facts must be analyzed. Evidence must be confirmed and corroborated. Okay, this is good. If that position has already been locked in, guilty or innocent, set it aside for now. Place it on the shelf. It will be there when you return. Who does that sound like? This sounds like wording that was in Whitcomb's book. I'm just saying. Remember that phrase? There was phrasing like that in his. I'm just making a connection. I'm just making a connection between the two books. This examination is not about outcomes. It's about whether the system that produces outcomes can be trusted. Okay, so remember, part of a system I'm sorry. I have someone at my house and I was making sure they weren't crying. I'm like, is that crying or laughing? Do you guys, I'm going to go check real quick. I will be right back. I'm sorry. It was good noise. It was good noise. It was screeching of celebration. So my daughter's girlfriend just landed a very good job. So I'm so happy for her. Yeah. I yelled for her name and I was like, are you crying or laughing? Oh my goodness. Thank goodness. Thank goodness it was good news. Good news. I'd read man. I feel like he's sending some cryptic messages. That's another one of my thoughts also is that he's also probably towing a line. And I've been in that position too, you guys. I've been in that position. I've worked in a system that I wanted to help make better. Myself included. I always wanted to get better and better. And I wanted the whole system to be, high achieving and, like a destination people wanted to pick. And, it's hard. It's hard to be in that system when not everybody feels that way and not become like a target or have repercussions. If you speak out too vocally, you'll get shut down. You'll get shunned. You could get blackballed. A lot of things can happen. Bridges burned. I suffered some of that. And so I understand being cautious. I understand doing what you can, how you can. And maybe other people look at, so I'm contrasting this to Brent Turvey. Brent Turvey seems like he gives no F's, right? He is like, hey, I'm an independent job. Like my work is independent, an independent contractor type thing. I don't answer to anybody. I answer to myself. I'm going to do things the way I want to do them. Like that's how I see it. And I think that makes a difference. That makes a huge, I know it makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. Are you serious? The Innocence Project is helping Scott Peterson? Oh, wait, Kathleen. I did see stuff that came out about that, but I haven't looked into it in a long time, but I don't know. But I hear you. Like, if they're helping someone that, a jury found guilty, right? And I never I didn't have a channel back at that time. I know the case, but yeah, if they're helping him, like, hello, let's look at Brian's case. Yeah. All right, I'm going to keep going. What was I going to type here? If that position has already been locked in, guilt or innocence, set it aside for now. Sounds like broken plea. Oh no, that's what I was going to put. People are part of the system. You can't say it's not about people because people are part of the system. My own little notes here. My God, why is it so big like that? Jeez, what are you doing? I love this app, but it shouldn't be this hard. Shouldn't be this hard. There we go. The focus is structural. The analysis presented throughout the book is conducted with respect. It focuses on process, not people. It does not sensationalize violence. Can you, what the hell are you doing? Sorry. There we go. So look at what he's saying here. The analysis presented throughout this book is conducted with respect. So I don't want to disrespect anybody. I'm coming to you with respect. We are going to focus on the process, not the people. But remember, my words, people are part of the process. It does not sensationalize violence, speculate beyond the record, or treat human loss as a teaching device. The intent is not criticism for its own sake, but prevention. Oh, he's saying he doesn't want to be disrespectful to the victims' families. Okay. History does not repeat because people are indifferent. It repeats because human beings are consistent. Pressure is predictable. And systems make it. I hope this continues here. Nope, I don't have the rest of it. So it cuts off there. All right, this next one is the disconnection. The disconnection, this is chapter 3. So we've gone from chapter 1 to chapter 3. So we don't get to see anything from chapter 2. Why was I scolding you, Scully? Oh, just what I was saying? You're funny. Kathleen, where did Holland come from? I know. I don't even think I watched Holland's interview. I need to go back and watch that. Looking at your comments for a second. The Koberger investigation had evidence. Oh, there we go again. It did. It had evidence. What it lacked was the structure to govern what that evidence was allowed to mean. And in that absence, narrative. All right, I don't need that much space, and I don't need it to be that big. So what he's saying here is we didn't do anything with the evidence we collected. So he's saying that the evidence didn't get analyzed. We all agree with that, I think. The evidence didn't get analyzed. Probably not followed through, not followed up on, not verified, etc. Right? Etc. The analysis that follows does not examine whether investigators reached the right conclusion. It examines what happens when no structural mechanism exists to require that evidence be reconciled before a timeline is permitted to advance. The answer, demonstrated here in granular detail, is the narrative fills the void, not through misconduct, but through momentum. Okay, you guys, he is being very careful not to blame. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not saying there was corruption in this case. I'm not saying that there was misconduct in this case. He just doesn't want to be accused of that. In my opinion, I'm giving my review and opinion of these free preview pages. And I don't think that makes the other things he's saying wrong. I think it's correct that you need to have a structure, a mechanism to collect your evidence, review your evidence. Like for example, we listened to Maury on the stand yesterday for a little bit, and we heard him say, well, they emailed me this file, and then I just took it from my email and I just shoved it on my computer and I never looked at it. And then, I just opened it before the hearing today. If you have a system in place where you have to follow that system, and there's things you can do to make that happen, that would have never happened. He would have never been able to do that. That file would have been in a place where his supervisor should have been, someone should have been in charge of, identifying those things. I don't know what the system would need to be. But I do know having chaos, if you just have chaos, everybody do whatever you want, whenever you want, how you want. You want to email evidence, go ahead. You want to throw it on a thumb drive and just drop it off to me in person, go ahead. If and then you've got all these people that you don't know if you can trust them. You don't know how ethical they are. You don't know if they're hard workers. You don't know all of these things, and they're all doing everything a million different ways. That's horrible. That's horrible. That is not a functioning system. And that's a system that it's set up for errors because there's no checks and balances and things like that. So I'm not going to bash having a system is is a good thing. Having a system isn't going to stop all of the problems. But you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. Chris WPA, he's basically saying the new digital system isn't governed to force compliance. So folks use the methods that led up to today. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Love and Other Habits. He doesn't want to again, he's not going to bite the hand that feeds him. Brian Kober can be the person who committed these murders. Inaccuracies, exclusions, or interpretive instability in a probable cause affidavit do not exonerate a suspect, resolve culpability, or substitute for trial. So again, he's being cautious here. So this is kind of crafty. If he's saying there's inaccuracies, there's exclusions, and there's interpretive instability. So he's saying that. He's saying that. So he is saying it. But he's not going to accuse anybody. He's not going to accuse anybody. The issue is structural, and it begins with what was available and what was never required to matter. From the outset, the case appeared structurally strong. What do you guys think about this? Let's see, what do I want to do? Put the crying face emoji in the chat if you are laughing at this statement right here. Put a crying face if you're laughing at the outset. The case appeared structurally strong. The case appeared structurally strong. I started it. Digital records arrived early and in volume. Cellular data, vehicle movements, surveillance footage, and location artifacts generated by multiple independent systems. On its face, this was precisely... Okay, let me stop here. So, I'm laughing at this. However, don't you think they probably do have all of the information? In my opinion, they have all of the evidence they need to arrest the correct perpetrators. What do you guys think? Do you think they have... I'm going to start another poll. So the last poll was 56% are not writing off Cy-Ray. New poll is... Oh, don't forget what you wanted to say, Kim. Don't forget what you... Oh, do you think they had enough? Okay, here we go. Do you think they had enough evidence to find the right killers? Whoops. And I don't mean that they took the right actions with the evidence that they have. I know they didn't do that. But do you think sitting somewhere in their computers, sitting somewhere in the evidence warehouse, sitting somewhere on somebody's phone that they haven't looked at yet, do you think they have all along enough evidence to find the right killers? So I'm putting that up. Yes or no? And I mean to prove it, like to prove it. I think so. I think they know where Xana and Ethan were all night. They know where all the victims were that night. They know if Bethany or Dylan were in the house all night. They know if they left. They know what Dylan said to her dad. They know what Bethany said to her dad. They know all that. They know all that. You know what else they know? They know whose phones pinged on that tower at that house that maybe have never been there before or are only there like twice a year or something like that. They know if there was a picture of the DoorDash food. They know, don't come in here yelling at me, Lucy. They know if Molly ordered the food or didn't order the food or all of that. I mean, they have it all. They have it all. They have it all. So, all right. On its face, this was precisely the type of evidentiary environment modern investigations claim to be built for. The evidence was dense. The evidence was multi-source. The evidence was rich enough to reconstruct behavior across time with considerable precision. What followed reveals something more fundamental than analytical disagreement. It reveals what happens when this is the end of page 43, and I don't think we get the next part, do we? No. Nope. So little cliffhanger there. Lucy. You don't think they know who did it? You don't think they know who did it, Lucy? They know where they were killed. Yeah, they know why they were killed. They know. Okay. So that was the end of page 43. And then we don't get to see anything until page 45. So then it's just saying here, evaluated under the same interpretive framework previously applied to that cell site, it would have required reassessment of the timeline rather than reinforcement of. Oh, so look at this little tidbit, you guys. I really think this book will read a lot easier than a textbook. Like this is reading like just a nonfiction book to me. Like this does not seem like dry, boring textbook reading to me. It seems interesting. So if I could get the book, I would. Like I said, I'm going to go to my library probably just because I would like to see everything. It also looks like he's inserting the Kohberger case throughout the whole book, not just the last chapter like I thought. So that's interesting. So look at this. He's talking about a cell site. He's talking about a specific cell site. Evaluated under the same interpretive framework previously applied to that cell site, it would have required reassessment of the timeline, you guys. And instead, they reinforce the timeline. So Cy Ray is saying they should have changed the timeline. Now, I don't know how much. I don't know the timeline of what, but something. Something. Oh my God, come on. And again, these are all human choices, right? Human choices. They reinforced it and said, had investigators incorporated the 250 connection. So they are talking about Brian's phone. Let me make this bigger. They're talking about Brian's phone. Had investigators incorporated the 250 connection, remember he connected back into his house, or the location back at his house. The assertion repeated throughout every search warrant that Koberger traveled to Moscow at approximately 2:47 would no longer be supported. Wow. I mean, you can't say that's not giving a specific. He's calling it out right there. He's calling it out right there. He's not being mean and funky about it, but he's putting it in writing. What do you guys think? Right there. That's a good one. I hope I was showing that. Maybe I wasn't showing it. Let me go back. I don't think I was showing you guys that. Nope. Every time I change a page, I have to change the tab. Sorry about that. All right, let's look. I'm not going to, you can just see. Wait, this one. Here we go. Okay. Look at what this says, you guys. Oh, I still picked the wrong one. There. So he's talking about a cell site location, right? Talking about cell site. Reassessment of the timeline. They should have reassessed the timeline instead of reinforcing it. Had investigators incorporated the 250 connection into their analysis, the assertion repeated throughout every search warrant that Koberger traveled to Moscow at approximately he went to Moscow at 2:47. He went to Moscow at 2:47. Every single document they wrote that in, every time they used that document, that piece of evidence was not supported. It was not supported. Do you guys see this? It's not support. Like, he's being very blunt here. All right. What page is this? This is page 117 of the book. No, wait, I gotta show you. No process should be burdened by paperwork. Ha 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 ha. Tell that to teachers. No process should be so burdened by paperwork that it becomes operationally ineffective. Let me tell you guys a little side chat. Let me tell you a little side example. Okay. This is important. Okay. And it can affect your life too. It's relevant. He's saying no position should be overworked by paperwork. Okay. I'm not even going to talk about teaching because that's one. You get nothing done at school. I have to bring it all home on my own time to get it done. Someone I know, I will just say someone I know very close to me works in a nursing home type situation. Okay. Like wonderful employee, above and beyond, like loves her clients. And she has to make a choice every day to run her butt off and not take a lunch, not take a break so she can get her paperwork done. Should I do my paperwork or should I eat and take a break at a nursing home? She got in trouble for not taking a break. So, I mean, it's a dilemma. It's a dilemma that is everywhere. It's everywhere. Like, I agree, but that's a whole nother like discussion. But I think it's funny he's bringing it up here. It's funny he's bringing it up here because it's not just cops. Okay, it's not just cops. It's teachers. It's nurses. It's probably like I don't know. It's everybody. All right, let me go back to this. No process should be so burdened by paperwork that it becomes operationally ineffective. Amen to that one. Amen to that one. The balance between excess and neglect is real, and law enforcement has spent far too long pretending it does not require deliberate attention. Okay, so I get what he's saying. Like, if you want to put processes in place and you want to make your system better, you have to do it, but you can't make it like so tedious and time consuming that you're making everybody like fill out a form for every single thing. Like, you just can't do that. It's not realistic. That's what he's saying. I still encounter this regularly. I will be reviewing an investigation, sorting through police reports or search warrant affidavits. When I reach the moment every experienced reviewer recognizes, that cannot be it. A serious case, a consequential decision, a critical piece of evidence, and the documentation consists of 3 sentences. Arrived on scene, identified evidence of significance, impounded same. How about no report taken? No report taken. Lucy, this is their paperwork. This is their paperwork. Arrived on scene. Here's I had to write lesson plans, you guys. Do you guys know this about teachers? I had to write lesson plans. So that means I had to write out everything I was going to do all day long, every day for my students. I used to tell Carlos all the time, I was like, before you go to work today, I want you to write out everything you're going to do at work today. Do you know how stupid that is? It's stupid. It's a waste of time. No teacher uses them. Like, yeah, you got to know what you're going to do, but I did it in like a checklist. Like, I knew like boom, 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 boom. It's useful to me. Right? Who's in a hurry? Kathleen, is it me? So, yeah, I just think it's funny. Oh, I don't know about 3 days in advance, Scully, but I have to have it planned. But do I write out every single thing I'm going to do on my live? No, I have like 4 things. Like, I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, that's planning, right? That's planning. I just think it's funny that he's saying, so I'm a teacher. I had to write out, like, it was ridiculous. It was so ridiculous. What's your objective for today? What do you want to accomplish? How are you going to accomplish it? How are you going to engage your students? Like, all this kind of stuff. Just to check a box, just to, like, make somebody who they never looked at it. Nobody ever looked at them. Right. And I mean, and what's the purpose of it? However, I was not trying to solve a quadruple homicide. Okay. If I was trying to solve a quadruple homicide, I would want to know some details. And so Cy Ray is giving the example here. I showed up, I arrived on scene, identified evidence. What evidence? What evidence? Debris. Debris. And impounded the same. So he's being, this is ridiculous. He's being critical here. No context, no explanation, and most tellingly, no objection from anyone who ever reviewed it. Because they don't have to. Because they don't have to. Now, you can say it's because there's a shitty person in charge of reviewing it and they just didn't do it. Yes, I get it. I get that. Okay. But you can have a system in place where here's the expectations. You have to teach your employees what they're expected to do. Okay. I had to meet those expectations. I didn't want to write those stupid lesson plans, but I did it because I was expected to. And I was told, here are the things that need to be in your lesson plan. All these things. Okay. So police officers should be told, here are the things that need to be in your reports. And here's how long you have to write your reports. I had to turn my lesson plans in on, like, the Monday morning to start the week. Okay. Some school systems, they have to do it like the Friday before. You have an expectation. If you don't have any expectations, you're set up for failure. At least if you have a system where you are setting some expectations, you're trying to minimize that room of, for error. Now, then it would be up to the supervisor to be looking at those reports to make sure that they are written correctly. And if that person is a horrible worker and they don't do their job, then it's up to their supervisor to be, monitoring them. I said, what gets monitored gets improved. Okay. So I'm not going to bash the system. I feel like you need a system. 10 additional minutes of documentation would have preserved what was actually observed. What makes this more concerning is that reports do not become public record by accident. This is interesting. He's going to talk about public records. Make this bigger. They are written, submitted, reviewed, and approved. When a report reads that thin, it was not just written that way. It was accepted that way. I love that. I love that point. If you are a lazy cop and you wrote your report in a lazy way, someone accepted it that way. Someone accepted it that way. So he's putting blame elsewhere. That acceptance reflects a culture decision. not an individual oversight. Well, see, this is this is where Lana flips her lid. Which I get it. I get it. I get it. I don't know. He's I get calling it a culture. A culture. Okay. When you work at a police department or a school system that has been doing things the same way for decades, that's a culture. That's a culture. I get it. And what that means is this is how we do it. This is the way we've always do it. And we're not doing it your new way. We're not doing it that way. That's a waste. That's a waste of time. We don't need to do that. Okay. That's the culture, but it's still individuals. It's still individuals. But I do know if you want change, it takes 3 to 5 years to systematically change a system. I've done it. I have done it. I took a whole, not just me, myself, but a part of a team. We took a whole elementary school, started from scratch. Not everybody was on board, but we had a mission. We knew what we wanted to do. We wanted to improve the outcomes of learning in the building. We wanted to make learning exciting and fun. We wanted to use new ways of teaching. And we had a plan and we had a system and we had, steps that we were following. And it took about 4 or 5 years to see results. You have to change the culture of how things get done, but you also have to have individual oversight. You do. I understand that not every report needs to be exhaustive. All right, let me pause here. I'm going to come back and see if you guys are saying anything. Change is good. Not everybody likes change, though. And when people fight back against it, it can get ugly. When I say the word monitored, Kathleen, I understand what you mean. You probably mean like someone like gawking over you, watching you like a hawk, probably. I mean monitored like if you have an expectation, I'm supposed to turn in my lesson plans every Monday, someone's collecting my lesson plans every Monday. And if I'm not doing it, then they need to follow up with me and like find out like what's going on. Right. Or another way of monitoring is like collecting data, right? Collecting data. How many, without names, how many police officers are writing these vague reports? Is it 1 or 2 people that we can go have an individual talk with? Or is it, 85% of the police force is writing these horrible reports? Like that's the monitoring I'm talking about. Mr. Mini-Me. When Dago called him Baby Pain, I lost it. He makes me laugh. Okay. I understand that not every report needs to be exhaustive. A found bicycle along a canal does not require a novel. Anyone who has worked the street understands monotony and repetition. But context changes. 3 weeks later, when it becomes clear that the bicycle belonged to a missing person and that person's remains are discovered during an unrelated search warrant, that found property suddenly matters a great deal. At that point, the absence of documentation is no longer an inconvenience. It is a liability. It's a good point there. This is not an abstract concern. I learned this lesson the hard way, even though I did not recognize it as such at the time. See, this is the type of writing that I like personal stories and I don't know, this seems like it would be a decent read. Early in my career, I wrote reports I am not proud of. Some of them were objectively poor. Reading them now would be embarrassing. Move fast and keep, but experience teaches you the downstream cost of that shortcut, and that cost can be enormous. Investigations remember what people forget. That is why I adopted what I call the 1% rule. The rule is simple. If there is even a 1% chance that the worst case interpretation of a situation is true, treat it as possible. Oh my goodness, you guys. Think about the Idaho 4 case. Tell me in the chat something in the case where there would be a 1%, at least a 1% chance or higher that the worst case interpretation of a situation is true. I'm thinking let's pretend they should have thought, wow, there's blood drops on this sheath. Let's test every single one because there might be a 1% chance that it could tell us who the killer is. There's one strand of hair with a root on it. There's a 1% chance that could be the killer's hair. Let's, make sure we write everything about it. Scully, I may be 99.9% wrong. That does not mean panic. It means discipline. It means documenting as if the future version of the case may need to understand exactly what you saw. Oh, there's a 1% chance we would need to know exactly where more than a 1% chance, where the knife sheath was. Describe it exactly. Sketch it out. Where did you find it? Exactly. Because that's going to be your key piece of evidence and you don't even know it at the time. But because you took the time to write down how far from the bed it was, what angle on the floor it was pointing, which side was up on the floor, which side was down on the floor. You took the time to document exactly where you found the sheath. You sketched it out. So now there's no questions about it. There's no questions about it because you took the time to do that. What's after 99.9? 0.99, 0.999. Let's see. Wait, did I skip a spot? It means documenting as if the future version of the case may need to understand exactly what you saw, what you knew, and what you thought at the time. Exactly. That rule paid off in an unexpected way years later. I was at home, fat, dumb, and happy, reading a book on brewing better beer when I received a call from someone I had known since high school. We had not spoken in years. The call was completely out of the blue. She told me she did not know who else to contact and then described an extraordinary story. A local police officer in our hometown was allegedly showing up at high school parties, breaking them up, isolating young women, and sexually assaulting them. There were rumors of victims being drugged and other students being involved. and explicit photos circulating. She had reported this to both the police chief and the sheriff and had been dismissed as repeating rumors. So he's not talking about Idaho right now. He's talking about another example. When I hung up the phone, my immediate reaction was skepticism. The story sounded exaggerated, unlikely, almost impossible. About half an hour later, the 1% rule surfaced. The story did not need to be likely. It just needed only to be possible. So you can doubt it. He's telling the police officers, have doubt, like, oh my God, this is stupid. Oh, this is going to go nowhere. Oh, this person's lying, whatever they want to think, so that I don't have to write a report. No report taken, right? He's saying, do it anyways. Even if there's a 1% chance that something might come of this, write the report, and write the report in a decent manner is what he's saying. 45 minutes later, I was going through my contacts to determine who I could responsibly pass this information to. When I made that call, I led with honesty. This sounds unbelievable, but if there is even a small chance it is true, it cannot be ignored. It's kind of like the vibe of that rule. 3 months later, I received a message with a news link, a police officer in custody. The allegations were real. The fallout was immediate and severe. Officers were terminated. Leadership was removed. The town was forced to confront a failure it had been told about and had chosen to dismiss. So let's think about this. He's giving a great example of how he made the decision to act on some information that someone shared with him, even though he thought, this is crazy. I don't even believe this is true. So I think what all of us are wanting is for these experts that are coming out and speaking now and writing books. I feel we want them to do the same thing with the Idaho 4 case. If they look at this case and even think there's a 1% chance that something is amiss, that some things in this case have even the slightest 1% chance of being wrong, if we follow this rule, then you would speak out about it. And like he said here, contact right here. This is what we need. This is what we're wanting people to do, is contact someone you can responsibly pass this information on to. Who's the person that could responsibly get this information and act on it? I don't know who that person is. Like, normally it would be like an attorney general of your state, but I know complaints have been made to those people, and I don't think anything has been done. So I like this rule, but I also think that rule is why people are upset with the experts or other people seeing this case, mainstream media, other experts. Three months later, I received a message with a news link. Oh, I read that part. The point here is not drama, it's discipline. Cutting corners in documentation feels efficient in the moment, but investigations have long memories even when people do not. Cases have a way of circling back, often in ways no one anticipates. The record you create today is the one you will be judged by tomorrow. Man, That is so true. That is so true. It is what survives scrutiny, crosses the truth line, and becomes fixed in the crime timeline. Here he talks about the title. The book carries this name because the truth line is where everything converges. Whoops. Let's see how at the beginning of the show, I was giving my, what I thought the title meant. He says it's called the truth line because it's where everything converges, where beliefs meet consequence, where exploration ends and commitment begins, where the investigation stops asking what might have happened and starts telling a court what did happen. Every structural failure this book diagnoses, drift, contamination, timeline hardening, authority substitution, escalation bias, converges at this boundary. Every mechanism this chapter has introduced, the control log, structural snapshots, artifact identity, governed transitions, exists to protect it. Okay. So, yeah. He's just saying the truth line is where everything that needs to be done gets done to hold that line of truth. All right, here he's going to talk about Brian's vehicle. Brian's vehicle, you guys. Yeah, one can, Leanne. Hello, hello, hello. You hear Chris Wickham saying exactly what Cy Ray just said. Yeah, there's some common statements in here. Yep. The vehicle direction in the Koberger affidavit did not earn its authority. No one tested it. No one verified it. That's a pretty bold statement right there. Stoner Podcast Media, thank you so much. I'm finding this very interesting. He's making a pretty bold claim right there. No one tested it. No one verified it. The vehicle direction in the Koberger affidavit did not earn its authority. No one tested it. No one verified it. No gate required it to prove itself before it was allowed to carry weight in a sworn document. It arrived, it was included, and it mattered not because it had survived scrutiny, but because nothing demanded that it survive anything at all. Eligibility criteria exist to be that demand. So here is eligibility criteria is a standard that Cy Ray is saying should be put in place. Let me see how I want to say this. What are they calling this? The vehicle direction in the Koberger affidavit. Okay, the affidavit. To prove itself in a sworn document. Okay. Vehicle direction. Vehicle direction. So that's a piece of evidence. He's saying there should be criteria about a piece of evidence before it's like used in documents, before it becomes part of a timeline, before we start using it in the narrative, before we put it in an affidavit. Like there should be, before you're allowed to start using a statement of fact from evidence, you need to put that through a list of criteria. Is it documented? Is it verified? Is it correct? Is it double checked? Is it, I don't know, all the things, right? You need to have criteria before you start using that. And he is saying that did not happen. That did not happen with the direction of Brian's car. That's huge right here. That's huge. If I'm interpreting that right. Again, this is just my interpretation of what I am reading here. Structural case control. Governs consequence through eligibility criteria. Structural case control governs consequence through eligibility criteria. The conditions that must be satisfied before an artifact is allowed to increase in weight, influence timelines, or justify downstream action. This is a complicated sentence. Let me break it down. He's saying that structural case control. So this is what he's promoting. This is what he's promoting. A process. We should have a process. Okay. And it should be in charge. It should be governing. Okay. And how do you do that? You have this like list of criteria that you follow. And if you don't satisfy this criteria, governs consequence through the conditions that must be allowed to increase. Oh, yeah. If you don't satisfy this criteria, then we're going to then that piece of evidence gets paused. It gets put on pause. Like, hey, wait a minute, time out. We're not going to run with this. Like, we're not going to say his car was going towards Moscow because it's facing the wrong direction on the camera. Like, where'd you get that from? Or, all things like that, right? That car's got floodlights. His car doesn't have floodlights. Like, they should have went through all these checks before making the statements they did and running with them and putting them in documents. So if you're writing a book saying these things specifically about the Brian Kohberger case and what happened in it, yes, I know there are places where he's being very soft in his words. He's giving outs to the individual people. But I'm finding just in the preview that he's got some very bold statements in here. Their purpose is not to slow investigations or raise artificial barriers, but to prevent advancement driven by familiarity, repetition, or narrative convenience rather than structure. People like to take the easy way out, right? Take the easy way out. In modern investigations, information becomes persuasive long before it becomes reliable. A data point appears in an early briefing. It reappears in a follow-up report. An analyst references it in a summary. A supervisor mentions it in a strategy session. Bill Thompson stands at the podium and says, "Share this far and wide." Isn't that what he said about the affidavit? Did I say floodlights again? North Carolina mountain man. Oh, fog lights. I always say the wrong one. I always say the wrong word. I swear, if you go back and watch my episodes, every time I'm supposed to say floodlights, I say fog lights. I'm just here for entertainment. Hi, Pucko Jewel. Pucko Jewel says, I really do not understand how they got away with what they got away with. This is the judge's fault. Both judges, actually, all three judges. Yes, I think it's the police officer's fault too. I think it's the investigator's fault too. I think it's everybody in the system's fault. Far and wide, share it far and wide. We're calling them fog lights from now on. They are not floodlights. They're fog lights. I swear that's what where do I get that from? I wonder if we call them that around here. I don't know. Long sleeves for long sleeves. That's funny. Okay. By the fourth repetition, it feels established. I mean, this is exactly what happened in this case. I think the reasons we think that happened, the reason Ray is saying it happened and the way we think it happened are different, right? Different. It feels established, not because anyone tested it, but because no one questioned it. There's so many things in this case that were like that. They were all sleeping. All the victims were sleeping in their beds. That was not a true statement. That's not a true statement. I don't mean the I mean, not the victims, the survivors, right? Dylan and Bethany, they were sleeping all night. What else that they run with? The PCA, everything in the PCA. So just because we're going to say it over and over and over until it becomes truth. The criteria exists to interrupt that tendency by requiring artifacts to earn authority deliberately rather than accumulate it passively. Under SCC, nothing matters more simply because it has been seen before, discussed often, or relied upon informally. Relevance is not granted by exposure. It is granted by surviving structure. All right, I know what people mean by word salad, okay? He's doubling down on his, you have to verify things. You can't just run away with something you saw one time, turn it into a narrative, and make it become fact just because you say it over and over again. That's what he's saying here, okay? All right. I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to skip that one. Let's see. All right, I'm going to go to this page. This is 14 point. So chapter 14, choke point control as a stress test, the Koberger case. Oh, he's talking about this XYZ framework. All right, let's go back and see. What's the XYZ framework? Oh, maybe I can. I'm not going to skip anything. Let's get to everything. All right, let's just get to everything. This one is Sigh on a Soapbox, Chapter 9. Patience is a discipline. It's not unusual for me to be awake at 2 a.m. with a case file open that is 20 years old. Not because anyone asked me to, not because something new surfaced. Because the patterns keep showing up and sleep does not make it disappear. I'll be reading through my own work, decisions I made, steps I authorized, timelines I assembled, and there it is again. The weak point, the gap, the moment that later demanded explanation, backfilling, or damage control. And every time I trace it back to its origin, I find the same thing. I was moving too fast. When I was a young cop, I had almost no patience. I treated momentum like a virtue instead of what it often is, a mask for uncertainty. I ran to the next thing, the next step, the next box to check. And I told myself speed meant I was working harder than everyone else. What made it worse is that I was rewarded for it. I was labeled a hard charger, someone who would grind until the job was done. And in this profession, that reputation gets you praise, opportunity, and a longer leash. What it rarely gets you is a mentor who pulls you aside and tells you plainly, speed is not a strategy. I always say hope is not a strategy, you guys. You can't hope for someone. Kathleen, Kim, the happy reader. Hope is not a strategy, is my saying. Speed is not a strategy. And when it becomes a habit, it becomes a structural vulnerability. You stop seeing the board, you start seeing only the next move, and then you call that progress. I wish I could say I learned the lesson through clean wins and textbook executions. I did not. This is one of those lessons that arrives through failure and it sticks because it's expensive. My speed created the weak points, it created the gaps, not because the evidence was insufficient, but because I allowed motion to outrun structure. When I look at the handful of cases where I slowed down, where I measured the next move instead of racing toward it, the difference is undeniable. Not because I was smarter in those cases, but because I was disciplined. That discipline did not come from temperament. It came from structure that forced a pause, even when instinct wanted motion. And it came from having the humility to treat not yet as a legitimate decision rather than a personal failure. That is what I see at 2 a.m. when the old files are open. The cases where I had the patience to wait, hold up. So he's saying when he didn't like speed through things, the cases were more solid. The people in this profession who consistently hold up under scrutiny are not the ones who move first. They are the ones who know what not to do yet, who can tolerate the discomfort of waiting long enough for the case to clarify itself. Your advantage is not how fast you can move, it's how well you can see what your next move will cost. I think this is something that might be specific to police work, because with police work, you don't want to tip people off. So waiting for the right move to do something, you got to be sneaky sometimes. Interviewing people in a certain order or going back to re-interview people like they should have done in this case a million times. Lots of people they should have went back and interviewed. North Carolina mountain man, I do not know about cars. I am not lying when I say that. That's so funny. That's so funny. So, okay. This is just another one of his tips to the law enforcement people that he's training, is that you have to have patience and slow down, okay? Why do I feel like I missed something? Nope. Okay. Let me see here. This isn't the same Cy who wrote his findings and was on the stand. Not the same guy who wanted to talk to Hitler, but instead was called a conspiracy theorist live on national TV. I don't know. Yeah, Jessie Lynn, I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because he works in that industry. I don't know. There's threats. I don't know. I do still see some of the information in here, even though it's just a preview. Ro, why do you avoid the plea side? I'm not sure what you mean, Ro. You guys are being silly. Maybe it's in the book, Lucy. Maybe the timing advance records are in the book. Hi, Dago. Hello, Dago. How are you today, Dago? CAO Kane. Hello. Deb Tutterow. Good to see you guys. Where was I? Which one was I showing? Oh my gosh. This one? This one. Okay. Nope, read that one. Here we go. Okay. So this is a different story that he's sharing. This person's name is Sandra. Choke point control, chapter 14. The dark was absolute. That's called a hook right there, you guys. That's like, it was a dark and stormy night. The dark was absolute. Not the dark of a closed room or a power failure, not the temporary darkness that passes when your eyes adjust and shapes begin to reassemble themselves from shadow. This was the dark of the earth itself, sealed and indifferent, pressing in from every direction at once, above her, below her, against the sides of her face. She did not know how long she had been there before consciousness arrived, uninvited with everything it carried. The smell came first. Dry desert soil, ancient and mineral, faintly sweet in the way that dead things are sometimes sweet. The way the backcountry outside Prescott, Arizona smells in the hours before dawn when the temperature drops and the ground releases the heat it has held since afternoon. A creek bottom ran nearby, its sand fine and dry and loose, the kind that shifts under a boot and settles into every gap. She knew that smell. She had lived near it for years. She had never expected to breathe it from below. The tape was everywhere. It covered her eyes, sealed flat against her lids, taking even the possibility of darkness away and replacing it with something worse. A pressed, adhesive, black that was not dark but blindness, not closed but held. It covered her mouth in layers, wound tight enough to flatten her lips against her teeth, sealed at the corners of her jaw. Her arms were crossed over her chest, hands drawn up toward her shoulders, bound in that position so that her fingers, if she could move them, if she could work them against the tape, were within reach of her face. Her legs were together, ankles touching, wrapped from calves to knees in overlapping passes. She could feel each layer as a separate pressure, a separate argument against movement. She tried anyway. Her body answered with almost nothing. The weight above her was not metaphorical. Nearly 5 feet of packed earth does not press down in the way that fear presses down. It presses down in the way that the earth presses down, which is simply, completely without negotiation. She could feel it in the resistance of the air itself, already close and diminishing. She could feel it in the silence. Let me see if... So that was page 357. I hope it doesn't leave us on a cliffhanger. Okay, it continues. Whew. particular sealed silence of a space cut off from the world above it. Sound had nowhere to go. Even her own breathing returned to her muffled and changed as though it belonged to someone else. She was 39 years old. Her daughters were 8 and 12. They were asleep in the house when he took her. And she had thought in the first seconds of it, in the doorway, in the dark of the hallway, she had walked 1,000 times that maybe there was still a way through this, that maybe she was wrong about what was happening. She was not wrong. He had been to this place before. Well, that's a whole page and a half telling a crime story. So that's like interesting in there. She could feel it in the silence, not science. Oh, I want to write a book so bad, Kathleen. I have my own crazy personal story to tell. My sister and I have ironically, horrifically gone through the same traumatic, I'll say traumatic experience as parents, as adults. And I want to write about that, like how these experiences my sister and I have gone through have mirrored each other. I'd also love to write about what it's been like covering this case. What books, if you guys could write a book, what book would you want to write? And I put a poll a little while ago. Let me see what the outcome was. So I asked you guys, do you think they had enough evidence to find the right killers? And 80% said yes. 80% said yes. I agree with that. I agree with that. I just have a couple more pages. Just a couple more. Bear with me. Bear with me. There's more about the Kohberger case. Let's see what more about the Kohberger case. Okay. Chapter 14. Oh, wait, we got to learn what is this XYZ thing? What is this XYZ thing? Is there, oh, here it is. Here it is. All right. Okay, you guys. So Cy has this framework called XYZ. XYZ. And he's talking about Sandra Pagnano's case, the lady we were just talking about. So she was abducted from her house. And he's saying that case showed a running loop. Now, we don't get to see that, so I'm not sure. So he says there's a difference between watching choke point control work and understanding the discipline. This is getting into the weeds that I don't think we get to see the page. Let me see if I can make sense of this real quick. Okay. The world records movement, whether or not an investigation asks it to. Infrastructure exists independent of crime. Cell towers triangulate to serve customers, not investigators. Okay. Cameras monitor intersections for traffic management, not homicide cases. What is this? IoT devices log activity for convenience and billing, not for evidentiary purposes. None of these systems know they are building a case. They are simply doing what they were designed to do. And in doing so, they impose constraints that no actor can retroactively remove. Well, that's odd. Because we have a video camera that has no audio. How did that happen, you guys? There's a video camera with no audio. We have an interview of a victim, not a victim, a witness, and it has no audio. The video camera didn't do that itself. This is the foundation of the XYZ framework. Once an investigation establishes X and Z as structurally supported anchors, the space between them is no longer a matter of interpretation. It is a matter of obligation. The world between two confirmed points had to observe the transition. Infrastructure had no choice. Time had no flexibility. Physical space does not permit movement from X to Z without passing through the corridor that connects them. And that corridor was occupied by systems that record. The analyst's job is not to declare what happened. The analyst's job is to force the environment to answer for what it recorded and to account with discipline for what it did not. That's weird. So just know that there is this XYZ structure or framework he's talking about. It has to do with hard evidence, like video evidence. And he's talking about like what it captures, what it does not. So he doesn't give us a lot in the preview here about it. So I'm not really making a lot of sense of it. Yeah. So that part got a little technical. So like I was saying earlier, I expected the whole book to be, and I don't know because I haven't seen the whole book. We were just looking at the free preview. My takeaway from the preview is that it looks like it's going to read a little bit easier. Just knocked my microphone down. Sorry. Has some examples in there. He is saying some things specifically about the Brian Kohberger case, about the investigation steps. Especially to be able to see that in a preview. So maybe there will be some more in the whole book. I do agree. He is being, I'm going to call it cautious. I don't know. I know he did have some blatant statements in there that threw me over the edge, like that one at the beginning. Like, yeah, I get it. I'm not completely bashing him. I'm still coming at it from two ways. Like, sorry about the mic drop. I literally dropped the mic, you guys. Mic drop. I should save that clip and go like this with a fake microphone. Then I'd probably have the sound, right? Oh, that's funny. In my community post, I've been posting a few things, so you might have to scroll a couple back. I found a Substack on Twitter. I was just like scrolling through and I don't know where I was looking. I think that's where I found it. And it was the typed out transcript of one of the Idaho 4 hearings. I think it was Cy Ray's hearing. And I was like, oh my gosh, look at that. So I thought it would be interesting for some of you. You might like it. You might like to see that. I have never been a Substack user, so I didn't understand it. So I shared that link without even looking at like, whose page is this? Whose Substack is this? I'm like, oh, this is interesting information. I think you guys would like to see it. Let me share it. Well, Kaylee, and I can't remember what her numbers are. Kaylee 626 616. I can't remember what her numbers are after her name. Kaylee B. I've seen her in Lana's chat, and she was here yesterday. She's the author of that Substack. So she's in our community. I've only seen 3 of her posts on there, so I don't know how many she has. I don't know if it's an old account or a new account. But the articles that I've seen, are you aware of her, Lucy? Yes, Kaylee B. Fabulous, like fabulous. And so please go check her out. I don't know how Substack works, if you can just like things or share things or subscribe or Lucy, I saw her in Lana's chat. But one of the things she did, and if you want to check it out before tomorrow, because I'm going to share it tomorrow. You know how I like comparison cases. I like to find a case that has something in common with the Idaho 4. She took the way the investigation happened with the cell tower data in the Idaho 4 case and compared it to the I think it's the Daybell case. I don't know if she focused on Chad Daybell or Lori Daybell, the Daybell case. And she compares many different aspects, like the language in their reports, the data they used in their reports, what their maps looked like, how they interpret their maps. I mean, she's got court clips in there. It is fabulous. It is really fabulous. So, I want to look at that tomorrow. Because it's been hard for me to dive into cell tower information. Although probably about a year ago when Carlos and I were doing our videos together. So if you ever want to look back, look at my videos, not my live streams, look at my videos. Carlos and I have episodes where we discuss Ray. And I made my own maps and did things like that. So I've tried, but I just feel like Kaylee B, did an excellent job. She gave me permission to review it on the show, but I want to make sure that she gets, all the credit and support from us. So please check her out. The link is in my community post. Scully or Lucy, were you able to find it? Did you link it yet? There she is. There, Scully got it. Skull got it. Thank you. Lucy, you're modding today? Twiz walked me through it. Twiz came on a show with Carlos and I. He did long time ago. But I did make my own maps. Basic, but I tried. Using Google Earth and stuff like that. So funny. So, I stand by some of the points I made today. I am not writing Ray off. After reading this preview, I see a couple of the statements that probably sent some people through the roof. I get it. I also understand. I explained, you already heard me say it in this episode. I understand trying to work in a system, in a job, in that, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds you. You don't want to burn bridges. I mean, I don't know. I also still think that I found today direct statements of fact about the case that were, I thought, clear. So I think that's good. And I want to give credit that I'm seeing him do that. And if that's the approach he took, we choose to see it for what it is, take away from it what we want. That's just take it for, just like the broken plea book with Whitcomb, right? We find little mistakes in there. We know what the mistakes are, so we know not to use those, right? We appreciate the parts of the book where it has information we never got to see before. That's how I'm looking at this. Everything that's coming out from these experts coming out. Check it out. Let me see. The case in 2017 in South Carolina, Charleston College among the bros. I highlighted that on one of my videos, Kathleen. Yeah, I want to read that book, Among the Bros. Yep, I believe I already I need to clip it, because what I've done in the past is I've made my own videos about a case, but then I show it on my live and it gets buried in the live. I need to go back and find it and clip it on its own and put it as its own video. But that case is crazy. Among the Bros. Yeah, it was a Charleston College. People had jobs they were selling drugs, right? And I loved it because it was such a great example of, you have to have that person that's not a college student, but knows the college students, but then also knows the people that are in the drug world. I've been saying that forever, and that case was perfect for highlighting that. Maybe we'll have to come back to that again, because anytime we talk about something like that, it's so interesting. It's so interesting. Yep. Professional rapport. That's funny. That's funny. You're not entirely convinced he is actually, I don't think I've heard him say that at all. From what I have read in the preview pages, I have not heard Cy Ray say, I haven't heard him say he's guilty, and I haven't heard him say he's the right guy. So I don't know where people are getting that from. Now, who am I? These are just my interpretations. I've only looked at, a few pages of preview. Okay. So that's all my basis is. That's all my opinion is coming from. Okay. There are other people who have read the whole book. They have the whole book. So they know more. They know more than me. And we are going to get to hear him speak in a couple weeks. So I can't wait to hear from him. I'm going to be, to be honest, I'm going to be really sad if I'm not going to not like somebody just because, if he did come out and say, look, I know Brian's the person that did this. I know Brian's guilty. That's not going to make me not like Cy Ray as a podcaster and law enforcement person. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, people interpret things differently. Yeah, to a point. I mean, if Cy Ray comes out and says something directly like Brian, Brian was the person. If he says it, he says it. That's not up for interpretation. But I haven't heard him say that. I have not heard him say that. So, thanks for listening to me read today. Thank you for listening to me read. Those were preview pages past the first chapter in Cy Ray's book, Truth Line. They are available publicly on his book link. In fact, let me put that link right here in the chat. You can check it out yourself. This is where you order the book. This is where you can preview the book. I want to just get as much insight as possible myself about how he was talking, what he was saying, and share that with you today. So I'm going to clock out for now. Thank you we had so many donations for memberships today. Lots of unique peeps joining us. Yeah, Kathleen, I love the Greek life and frats episodes. Yep. Those are good. Those are good, interesting lives. Love it. Maude, you're awesome. Dago, I'm sure, is going live. True Crime Cafe with Dago. Make sure you go over there and watch his show this afternoon, which he was. Hello, hello. Ro, thank you for being here. Him saying that the data would have shown means it would have shown this or that. It isn't a statement. Let me see. The data would have shown. To me, that means, yeah, you don't have it, right? Did I miss that part? Is that in the preview, Lucy, or is that in the real book? Is that statement in the preview? Did I miss it? Look at that. Look at that optimism. CAO Kane. That's our optimism for today. With all love. You think he's holding back because there's something coming. Maybe. I mean, yeah, I hope. I'm like you, like, yes, let something be coming. Yes. I agree. Lucy, you finally let Cy-Ray out. You finally let him out of your basement. That should have been the announcement. Cy-Ray is out of the basement. Oh, you guys are great. I love this community. I love all the unique peep members, green team, all the mods, everyone who is a subscriber, joining us in the chat. You guys are awesome. Please join me back tomorrow. I'm going to clock out for now. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Don't forget Taco Tuesday. See you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Subscribe, it's free and keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew now, right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. That could be unique, yeah, that's you and me. Don't forget to like and hit subscribe, it's free. Come back again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep, we crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but that's the show. One love, two minds, letting it flow. We dig deep, we crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. We don't always agree, but you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. We dig deep, we crack jokes, we call it like we see. If that's your vibe, you belong here with me. Thanks for watching, hope you felt the spark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. Please hit that like before it gets dark. It's free, it keeps us going strong. You're part of the crew, now right where you belong. Join us next time, same truth, same fire. We bring the heat and never tire. We're typically unique and proud to be a husband and wife and proud to be a husband and wife in podcast harmony. Yeah, that's you and me, that's you and me. Don't forget to like, hit subscribe, it's free. Come back
again, we'll be right here with truth and laughs and zero fear.